Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday morning. I'm so glad to be here painting with you this morning. It's a little bit of a drizzly day morning here in Maine, so it's a good day to be inside and painting, I think. I've got this light shining right over me, making me very shiny, but anyway, good to see you all. Welcome to my segment on Craft Round the Clock this morning, and you also are finding me on my Tinker's Card art page and YouTube. So welcome, everyone. It's so good to have you here. So good to be painting. I'm going to bring up your comments, so if you have any at all, please just say hello when you pop in, and I'll let you know what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on a gourd birdhouse that we're going to paint. I had a bunch of these from a friend. I have 2 left, and I thought we'd paint this one this morning. So it is just primed with white right now, with just some gesso. I'm just painting the stem brown because usually I leave them natural, but this one got painted. So anyway, now we have a brown stem again. So welcome. I know I've told you guys this before, but I love to paint, and I love to paint with you guys. So to come on and have you all here is fabulous. Good morning, Tracy. How are you? Thanks for sharing me into the group. And I'd love it if everybody just said hello, and I'd love to know where you're watching from too. That's always interesting to me. I'm coming to you in the summertime from the coast of Maine, and in the wintertime, I am in Central Florida now. So we have different vibes in different places, and we paint different things. But these are just actual, natural, real gourds. I have one started here with flowers that I have to finish. So I figured while I have my gourds out, I'll finish this one later, but this one we're going to paint with the lunar moth. I don't know if you guys, anyone who's been following me has seen my lunar moth paintings. I did it originally as just a 36 by 36 square painting. Good morning, Carol. Then I just recently painted it as a mural in Florida. I flew down to paint a mural. It's about 5 by 8 feet on a wall. And so I do have a thing for lunar moths. It's been kind of a cool subject. Oh, Carol, you're in New Jersey. Nice. I have lots of friends in New Jersey, so I do get down there often. In Spain, Karina, good to see you here again this morning. I love it too when I see my overseas people, so thank you. I have my lunar moth earrings on today. So here it is, the lunar moth. I'm backwards here. This is the lunar moth here, and this is the first stage of the lunar moth there. So good morning, Patricia. Anita, hi guys. So we're going to paint with ordinary acrylics. This birdhouse, it's a gourd. It's just been hollowed out in a little hole for the birdhouse. I'm using, just like I said, my acrylic paints. I'm using just basic colors because this particular painting, we can mix all of our colors up from our basics. So I've got a blue and a green, yellow, red. I've got a quinacridone magenta, which I love to make my pinks, a Payne's gray, and we will get going. So I'm going to, I have a little sketch right here. Hi, Cheryl. Just of the lunar moth. Most of the paintings you've seen me do of the lunar moth, it's straight on. This, because of the size of the gourd and the way it's situated, I'm going to do like a flying lunar moth here. And then I'm going to just do some grasses around here with some irises. I love the way the green of the lunar moth plays off the purple and bluish irises. Hi, Andrea. Hi, George. Good morning. I'm so happy to see you here. I'm sort of a last minute this morning. Someone canceled, so I jumped in because I did not really have a spot scheduled. I was playing it by ear this week. So anyways, here we are. I want to paint the background kind of a dark blue, kind of a night sky, so that I can put stars in the sky and fireflies and that sort of thing. I'm going to bring up the picture on my computer here kind of small so I can still see your comments. I've painted it so many times, it's kind of like easy enough for me to do. But let me just put it over here in the corner. I'm just going to move it off there. All right. Let's see, I just want to manipulate my screen a little bit here, and we will get started. Okay, perfect. Now I can see you guys, I can see your comments, and I can see my painting. Thank you for your patience. And Donna, good morning. And Michelle, oh, first time welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art, and I love to paint. I paint in all mediums, but you'll see me mostly in acrylic here, sometimes watercolor, sometimes gouache, but usually something water-based. And I want to get a dark blue here. And I'm just going to paint my background around my lunar moth because my lunar moth is going to be that lime green. Sometimes I'll paint my whole background and then paint the elements on top. But this time I'm going to paint right around my little sketch. And then we're going to paint all the little bits in. And I could have probably started this before. And on Craft Around the Clock here, we have 45-minute segments. And if you do not follow Craft Around the Clock, I urge you to. There is a link in my description. And we have live crafting and live artisans all day, every 45 minutes. It's so fun. You can learn all sorts of, a little bit of everything. I have been... I love to craft, but there's so many things that I have just been learning here on Craft Around the Clock. Hi, Charlotte. Good to see you. I was going to give you a heads up, but I posted it so you'd know. It was just a last minute this morning thing. So I'm so glad to see you here. And Pam, good morning from Texas. So I teach painting. I paint quite a bit. I love to design paintings and teach painting. Most of the time it's pure beginners who've never held a brush before. So yes, if you have an inkling you might want to learn to paint, you can certainly learn. It's not something you have to be born with. People are born with talents for all sorts of things, and they have an easier time with things. Sometimes it just comes naturally. But if it's something that you want to do, like anything besides it's cooking, gardening, whatever, you need some instruction. You need some step-by-steps. That's why I'm here, to help you along. Oh, Ginny, have you painted? I haven't painted too many, so I'd love to see yours. I encourage you guys, please, to post your paintings and your crafts and anything on my page. I love to see them. I paint on all sorts of things. Tin pieces, glass, thrifted pieces. Like I said, I just painted this design on a mural. If it doesn't move, I paint it. So anyway, you've probably seen I've painted on ice skates and on sneakers and lunch boxes. What else? And I find some cool thing with a blank surface. It's free game. So I'm just going to roughly go around my little moth here. I might go in with a smaller brush to touch that up, but I mostly want to get the large dark area painted, which is going to be our night sky. And then we're going to put a little Luna moth hovering over here to the side. And then we're going to put a lot of greenery, grasses, and some irises. So you'll get an idea of how to paint a few different elements today. We might not get all of the irises down, but I'm going to at least give you some instruction on just how to paint them. And I will touch up the rest of this birdhouse. I know the very bottom I'm not going to worry about yet. It's hard to paint all the sides, and generally I would have base coated this before we came on, but it was a last minute decision to come on with you guys. So yeah, and I only have 2 of these birdhouses left, so that's why I want to finish them up. I have a little shop here where I can sell some of my samples and my painted things that I am painting with you, and I thought these are taking up space on my shelf. Let's get them out of here. I'd love to know what you guys like to paint. If you're a painter, are you a wannabe painter? Check out my page, check out my YouTube channel, and you'll find a lot of free classes and things. I also have a couple of art memberships. Charlotte is a member. We usually have a few members popping on. Pam's in Texas as well. And good morning, Tammy. Thanks for saying hello. It really helps us. We're painting here, and I do feel like I'm painting with you guys. But to have some comments or just a hello or a thumbs up or anything really makes it even more fun. So, okay, I use my big brush for most of that. I'm going to go in with a little smaller brush now just to kind of get around the little long tails of those Luna moths. Oh, Kentucky, Tammy, nice. Okay, so I'm just going to get in a little closer because I can't really grab. Oh, you know what? Let me bring this a little closer down so you can see a little better. Let me bring the camera a little closer to the gourd so you can really see. And I'm going to watch and make sure that you see when I'm painting them. Luna moth is going to be here. And I can paint my greenery and my irises right over the dark background. But I love a dark background when I have some light elements. The moth will be light. And then I'm going to paint little fireflies and things in the background. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love painting. And I've painted all my life. I've taught for many, many years. And I love painting online and teaching online now. It's really, really kind of cool that I can be here with you guys from all over the country and all over the world. Isn't it, the internet has some wonderful advantages, and this is one of them, that we all get together no matter where we are. I get together with my friends a lot of times and paint, and they're all over the place, and we just have fun just kind of hanging out online. All righty. So I'm going to just get a little bit of blue there. Oh, I'm half a screen here, so I have to be careful so that you guys can see. And please holler if you can't see. Oh, Tammy, my mom had a ceramic studio growing up, so I had done lots of ceramics. I do love that too. And in my group, you don't have to freehand because whenever we're painting, I give you a tracer. I teach you how to paint a little more freehand and how to freehand things, but I don't expect you to have to in a class. I give you the tracer. And Debbie, I got these passed down to me just from a friend's mom who was a decorative painter, and she was cleaning out her studio, so I gave a home to many little different things to paint. So I know she grew them herself actually. So I know people do grow them already, and I could dry that up with my hair dryer, but let me let's see. I think I will, and I hate to have the noise of that, so I will mute it, but let me just give it a quick dry with the hair dryer. Sometimes I'll use the hair dryer or a heat gun to dry things as I go, because it's really damp here. It's kind of a little drizzly and pretty humid, so I'm going to mute it for a second for you guys and just dry this up. Oh, Tammy, yeah, I have a bunch of martini glasses right here, and I almost did those today. I want to paint something beachy on them, so I'll do some glassware again, too. I do like painting on the glasses, and I kind of forgot about the little gnomes. The little gnomes are fun to paint. I still love gnomes. Oh, Deb, hi. Well, it's nice to see you, and what I love about this is nobody's late and nobody's leaving early because there's a replay. There's always recorded, so don't worry. Let me dry this up a little bit. I mostly wanted to dry it so I could have a place to hold it without getting all fingerprinty. All right, let's get started on our little Luna Moth. I do love them. I saw one years and years ago land in front of my store. I was so surprised. I had no idea they were that big, and I was hoping to always see another one. I've been painting them all winter, and then when I got up here to Maine, didn't I see one? So I'm pretty happy about that. Oh, Debbie, thank you. I do love to paint, and I just, what I mostly want to do is encourage others to do it, because I know people say, oh, I can't draw a straight line, or, I can't paint people, or it's like a lot of things. If you want to do it, you can learn. I would teach you step by step by baby step, with tracers, and to get you on your way to being able to design and paint, your own paintings and landscapes and seascapes and that sort of thing. You don't need a lot of drawing. You could just get some, a horizon line and some ocean. We'll do some more ocean and wave paintings. Those are pretty fun and pretty easy. Hi, Pamela. Okay, we better get going because I've been gabbing too much. So it's that's too bright of a lime green for him. We need to tone it down with a little blue, I think. It's this color that is kind of like this. It's a limey green, but on the blue side, and especially where if this lunar moth was flying against that night sky, it would pick up more blue than maybe if it was just in a daytime. So I am adding a little blue in there. I'm going a little darker than I want because I want to be able to highlight it a little bit and shade it in places. You will see if you watch me paint a lot, how do you make a three-dimensional object on when you're painting two-dimensional? It's a matter of shading and highlighting, and it makes your objects appear 3D. So it really does work. And I'm just going in here. I've mixed just some green and yellow and a little blue, adding a little white sometimes just to get that shade I'm looking for. And they've got these big wings. Oh, Ginny, porcelain. I remember back in the ceramic studio days, yes, we did do porcelain sometimes. That was really fun too. Well, I'm so glad to have you here. And sometimes I know it is tough, with some issues, but watch some of my videos where I'm painting something really big and loose, where I just throw the paint on almost, let it drip, and it doesn't have to be detailed. I know painting ceramics, you're used to painting eyes and all those details, but have some fun sometimes with just maybe a big canvas, just throwing the paint on there. And it's acrylic. You could paint over it if you didn't really love it. So, if you have the desire to paint still, it doesn't have to be same as what you used to paint. You could paint some new fun abstract, looser paintings, which would be kind of cool. All right. Hi, Holly. So I am painting a gourd birdhouse. I know it's dark. It's hard to see what it is there. And we are going to paint a Luna moth on here. Luna moths have these long, thin tails, which are so cool. I'm using just ordinary acrylics. My brushes are just acrylic, synthetic brushes. They're not super expensive. I try to make it so if it's new to you painting, you could get started without spending a boatload of money and just, you know, with simple materials and basic colors. You don't, it's fun to buy all the colors, but you don't need all of them. You can mix a lot of colors from your primaries. How many of you caught last week with the mystery box challenge, the Christmas mystery box? Those are some of my favorite segments, you guys. That was so fun. If you missed it, you could certainly go scroll back on the page and look at the replays. But what we do is we send each other a box, a mystery box with 5 craft items, Christmas craft items. And when you are on your segment, you open that box live. You don't know what's in it. So you have to think on the fly. You have to open the box and then use 3 out of those 5 items and create something. It's a blast. If you didn't see it, take a look. I had really a lot of fun. It's very nerve-wracking, but a lot of fun. And I'm just going to paint the little body of the Luna moth, kind of a pale, pale yellow. It's mostly white, but if I started and just painted it white, I can't really highlight it. So I'm going a little bit with like a goldy yellow color so I can highlight it. Hello, Natalie and Jacqueline. Jacqueline, nice to see you. Yes, they were fun, weren't they? I'm going back still watching because I couldn't catch everyone. I tune in when I could. And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Okay, let's get our little moth body. Their bodies are a little bit, I don't want to say hairy, but I make them kind of like they're a little furry, I guess. And I'm so happy to have seen another one this summer. Okay, so there's that, and I'm going to let it just dry a little bit, and then I'll go back and lighten it up. Although, you know what I'm going to do now is it has these little antennas. Unlike just the butterfly antennas, it's got these antennas, which are kind of like this. I'm painting them white. They're yellow, but I'm painting them white so that I have, you know, it's so hard to get yellow to cover a dark color. So I'm just painting them white so that I can come back after. And this is what they look like. Let me come up close for you. They look like this. How many of you have seen a lunar moth in real life? Pretty cool. So they look like that, and I will make them yellow in a little bit. And the wings. So the wings are kind of going to overlap a little. So the top wing is kind of overlap, and it's a little segmented. So I'm going to just get a little yellow in there in a couple places to lighten it up. I'm just using the same dirty brush I painted the green in with. I don't mind that it's wet still. I kind of have a little bit of an overlap here where that bottom section is. And it, like I said, it has some little sections, and the little section on the top is a little more on the blue side. So it's this little section here. I've just taken, again, the same dirty brush with a little blue on it and made this little section. And you know how I was saying how I use shadow and highlight to give something form? How I do that, if I don't have a reference photo that's exact, is you just look at your item, whether it's a still life or an animal or anything. You look at what's on top of the other. Where would a shadow be cast? So I'm going to cast a shadow here around the body. So the same brush with a little blue. And I like to use the strokes to almost look like the texture of the wings. So if I've got my brush here, I'm going to get a little bit, make sure you can see it. Yeah, a little bit of that darker shade here. Kind of coming down here. Under this section, it's a little darker. But now I can just use that nice flat brush on the chisel edge, and I can just go like this and get little thin lines. The reason I use a flat brush a lot of times is I can get a flat, broad line. You know, I could get a flat, broad line, or I can get nice thin lines. It's very versatile. And so I'm going to thin my paint down a little bit because I want to get some of these little lines that are going to just kind of give me the texture of that little wing with those little sections. Tammy, yeah, my brain is all over the place. I've done a lot of design work and pattern design and stuff where I would go more whimsical. And like I just recorded on Monday for my membership a piece that was originally a illustration, and it was an under the sea painting, and it was, I call it Manatee Party because it's a manatee with a teacup and an octopus with all teacups in her arms and a narwhal with a teapot, and they're drinking tea. So sometimes it's very whimsical and not as realistic, but then yet I do pet portraits and things that are more realistic. It's just whatever I think of. Sometimes it's like we just did one at a giraffe eating a big tall ice cream cone. So when I get an idea, and I share this too, I have some videos about designing and finding inspiration for your own paintings. I have a thought, I research a little bit, I take photos. I just get, sometimes I just see something. I love the ocean here. I do a lot of seascapes. I do a lot of plein air painting. That's painting outdoors on site. And that is great for practice, but it also gives me ideas for the irises, for instance, on this, something I may have been painting in a garden, but really not as whimsical as putting it with the Luna moth. Okay, so I want to get in there now and get some lighter shade. So, you know, I got some dark, I got my middle shade, that green, I've got some darker shadows, and now I'm going to get some yellow, because the yellow is even by itself is a nice glaze over this color. So I'm going to just follow the pattern, not the pattern so much as the texture, these little lines for just to get the idea of the wings. And I'm going to put a little white in there too. Little white, their edge of their wings is a little lighter. So if I take some white now on, again, I'm using the dirty brush. It's just got a little yellow on it. And if I go down, let's see, this one, it's got a little bit of a furry, again, look at the bottom of this little bit. So I'm going to just give a little white there. But see the texture I'm getting with the brush just on the chisel edge a little bit? Oops. So same here. I want it to be lighter around the edge of the wing. Then I'll wipe off my brush, and now I'm just going to bring in that white. But now I'll do the chisel edge again so I can bring in those little lines. And I'm going to almost define some as little sections. So there we are, getting the texture of the lunar moth already, just with a few little highlights and shadows. I'm putting it on, and while it's wet, I'll use the chisel edge, and I'll just sort of bring it in. And if I wanted to find little sections, I'm going to do that same thing. I might just put, like, here's a section, here's a section, here's a section. This is that little area that I had where the wings are crossing over, so I want to make that a little lighter. And I just bring it in. The acrylic paint, as it dries, sometimes you lose it, it kind of fades, and that's why I go back and I'll do multiple coats to get it even a little brighter if I need to. And I might even take a fine little liner brush and do lines in there if I feel like it needs it. So just white by itself. And I'm going to use this brush to do the little furry body too. So I'm going to use that brush. And if I want to get just a little bit brighter white here, I just do it again with a finer brush. And if I want to just really get those sections, there's a little section here I'm going to outline. And down here, I'll give myself a little sections. The long tails kind of are turned a little bit, and I can get that by, again, putting a little white here. Give a little highlight. I can use those strokes to make, again, that texture of the, I'll give you a little up close there. So here's where we're coming along. And then we're going to put some things on here that really just make it the markings of the Luna moth. I should keep an eye on my time a little bit too. Where are we at? 10, we were at 9:15. We have till 10 o'clock. So we'll just kind of scoot along. And I'll give you an idea of how to do the grasses and the irises. Maybe not all the way around, but I will paint them all the way around later, and then I'll take a picture. But I'll show you. We're going to get their little antennas that we did here. I'm just going over the white with the yellow, and now you can really clearly see that's yellow. If I didn't put that white under it, you wouldn't even see it. And now I'm going to take some white and just give that texture of the body just some texture. Like, I'm using little strokes from the bottom up. If I'm painting hair on a person or fur on an animal, I always start at the bottom and lay the strokes up so that that's how they would flow. If I started at the top and worked down, I would be cutting off the nice thin little edges. So that's why I started at the bottom, and I'm just going out over the edge a little bit just to give that little fuzzy appearance. We're not doing anything about, eyes or anything on this guy. So there we are. And now they have a little bit of maroon on their wings. So let's get like I said, the little details that are going to make them really stand out. And I'm just going to mix a little bit of black with my red or my pink just to get the maroon. Again, you don't have to have all the colors. You can mix them pretty easily. And it's got a little bit, I'm trying to paint it so you can see it good too. So it's got a little bit of a maroon across the top of the body there and along the edge of the wings. So we're just going to outline the edge of the wings. And that is a little too dark with the dark sky. You can't really see it. So let me make it a little lighter and a little pinker. And that is going to just go like this. And same around the edge of the wings. I'm making it more pink than it would be just because of that night sky. Okay, and then down below on this, it's got a little bit, it just tapers off there. It's a little bit of a maroon pink. And then there's a little spot of that here. Up here by this little section that we did, there's just a little bit of kind of a teardrop shape. And down on their lower wing, there is a little circle, which is going to have some yellow on it. But for now, I just did just to get that in. Let's let that dry. And let's put some grasses in there. And I'm going to kind of do them just kind of one-stroke grasses, if you're familiar with one-stroke painting at all. I'm just going to load my brush with a medium shade of green. I'm going to take a little darker green. Let me mix a little darker green up. I'm going to take a little darker green on one side, which really isn't going to show because, we're going to concentrate on medium and light because we have such a dark background. So we've got a nice medium green on the flat brush. Take a little bit of white on the same brush. I'm going to pat it out a little bit. And then we are just going to have some grasses along the bottom. So you can see I made that one long stroke and just had some white on one side. And I could just dip my brush in the green, the yellows, the whites, and I just want some grasses coming up for us to nestle in the irises. And I do different shades. Sometimes I even do a light blue. Like sometimes a turquoisey blue is kind of cool for some of the grasses. And that'll be all around the bottom. I'm not going to do the back right now because that's going to be too wet. And I just want to do different shades. So that's the trick. To please the eye and make it look like a more interesting composition or painting, change it up. So don't do every grass the same color. If I take a little black into this yellow, I'm going to get more of an avocado green grass. So sometimes I'll do that. I can go to my liner brush again and do some thin ones. And I could do some that are like almost like vines and have little leaves coming off of them. And in my palette, if you can kind of see, I'm just jumping from color to color to make it interesting. And actually, sometimes I find it easier to bottom towards me. So I could start here a little heavier and wiggle my brush up and get a nice thin line. And then on those, just to make it more interesting, I could just make little, like almost like it's a little vine. So I mix those in different shades. Like again, sometimes it's a light color. Maybe I'll do it extra light so you can really see it. Sometimes you can just do like a few leaves coming off of it. So it's going to be just a variety of grasses. You could use golden grasses. You can, just as long as you mix them up, overlap them too. So some here now, I'm going to go right over what I have had there. They're not all sitting on one plane. But these are basically going to be a place where I can come back and put some irises. Because I said I love the purple blue irises peeking around the green. It really just kind of is nice look. So there we are. We're pretty much done with our Luna Moth. So the little detail that this gets is some of that yellow ochre gold color. And it just, these are just the little markings on them. They're just kind of a little bit of a yellow there. I have the teensiest bit of yellow left, but I'm going to try to use what I have. And this one here, it almost looks like a blinking eye. So it gets a little bit of this. And a little tiny stroke of white. So I want my little brush for that. Again, I'm just using some round, some details, but mostly the flat brushes. And this gets just a little white detail there. I know it seems picky to put these little things on, but then it just really reads as a lunar moth later. And that's about all we need to do on the moth itself. So that's pretty much done. And now we've got some grasses, but let me show you how we can do some irises pretty quick. All right. Hey, thank you guys. I know sometimes I get painting and I miss your comments, and I want to say hello to you all, and I will come back and answer any questions. Please, any questions at all that you have, throw them out there. Let me see if I missed. You guys are all so good. It's so nice to see you all here. Okay. I am going to just mix my quinacridone magenta and blue to get a beautiful purple. Yes, you can buy all kinds of purple shades, beautiful craft paints in all colors. I do that, but I do like sometimes just to use what's on my palette. And sometimes you produce a more cohesive painting if you are using a limited palette and just mixing your colors. Everything seems to kind of blend together. You don't have a harsh color of another sort just jumping in there. I hope I say your name right, Rula. Maybe. Yeah, they're just great by themselves out, not painted. The gourds make great little birdhouses. Absolutely. So, okay. So I'm going to mix up a little bit. And I know I'm on the split screen here, so I always want to push over here just to make sure you see everything. There, I just moved my camera. That's better. And I like to have you see my palette a bit. I know it's a messy paper plate right now, but I'm taking a little blue and a little of the magenta. Now, I know you're supposed to mix red and blue and you get your purple. If I use my CAD red here, Tuscan red, whatever red you use, it comes out very brown. I use the magenta. I love this quinacridone magenta color. It mixes to make beautiful shades, and it makes a beautiful purple. And again, when I paint, I may not have mentioned this today, but you might have heard me say it. I a lot of times paint dark to light. So I'll start with a dark background, work lighter. So I'm going to go darker, and it's going to be a little hard to see on this piece with my purple irises. But then I'm going to lighten them up. So I start dark, and then I just get lighter and lighter. So even if you can't see them at first, Jacqueline, thank you so much. Please check out my page. And if you like to paint or see me paint, I'll be there. And same with my YouTube. There's a lot of, like I said, I have paid classes. You can buy them individually on my website, or I have a couple of memberships, which are really fun. We paint together live, and there's 3 years worth of paintings that you have access to paint at any time, right when you join. And I'm not a big salesperson, so you can send me a message, or I'll try to post a link in the comments. But please, if you have any interest in that, I sometimes do 3-day little workshops online and all that sort of thing. Hey, Zena! Oh, it's nice to see you. It's a nice morning here in Maine. It's brightening up a little. It was drizzly, but it's nice to see you popping in. Okay, I love irises. I know they're kind of a crazy shape. I just kind of think of them almost like as a little tongue back here, and you'll see in a minute when I highlight them. And then these two little sections, and kind of like a little. I sort of just. Let me do the light on there because I feel like you can't see it. So I do a little shape like this in the back. And then that same kind of shape up front. You've got these things off to the side, these petals, and sometimes there's some in the back. But that's basically the start of them. Like I said, I would start dark, but I want to add white there so you can actually see what I'm doing. And I am putting my hand in the wet paint down here, but the other good thing about acrylics is I can just touch it up. It's not a big deal. I'm going to start a little lighter so you can see what I'm doing. Sometimes I go more blue, so there's some purpley ones and some blue. Hey, Cindy, good morning. Rula, I know it's same. Sometimes this summer I've had not as much time to paint as I'd like. And what I like to say is look at the little segments that we do here on Craft Around the Clock. They're 45 minutes, and we do quite a bit. So if you could just put aside a few minutes, even if it's to sketch. I actually have a blog on my website about this. I don't do a lot of blogging, but I have one about I don't have any time. And if you set up, it's hard. If you set up and have it ready, if you had a little corner, it makes it easier. And if you just say, I'm going to take 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that's it. We can all spare 25 minutes. We scroll for 25 minutes. And you'll be surprised at how much you get done. And then you enjoy it so much, you come back, and it becomes more of a routine. I know it's really a trap to get in, that I get into myself of not having time. Oh, Patricia, I don't have any right here where I am at the moment. I know we've had some terrible storms where down by the beach they have had some flooding. But right now, And nothing like last summer. We had rain all the time. This has been a beautiful summer compared to last summer. Can you see how this one now is a little more blue? A little more blue and a little more purple. I'm just going to do those two so that you can see how I do them. And sometimes it's just like a little bud that's going to come off of a stem. So let's let that set for a second. I'm going to just dry my brush off. I'm going to use that dirty brush. Oh, Brenda, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That really helps us creators here for you to let your friends know who are crafty and creative and artisans that here we are doing all this cool stuff, okay? And so around the edge is where I'm going to go with my light. Kind of like the butterfly. And then with the chisel edge, I bring it in so I can have. And even if I take just the white on the corner of my brush and just go around that edge. Just want it lighter on the edge. It's going to stand out nice from the background. Of course, I have a lot less detail on this one than the bigger painting. And then the mural, if you go back on my page, you'll see the mural. I just finished it a couple weeks ago down in Florida. I did the mural on a wall in the city where I live in Lakeland. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bluer one. I'm just going to go around the edge with some white. Kind of one stroke. Cindy, you're the one stroke person here too. I'm just taking the little corner of the brush and just going around the edge. The paint's setting up. It's a little bit dry. Sometimes I like to work quick so I can mix the paint wet and wet. Sometimes I can go back and do washes and things to get that light and dark, which is the important thing, the light and the darks. Maybe do some of these little lines coming out because that's how they are. The irises are like that. And then they've got that little bit of yellow. So again, like on the butterfly, the little detail at the end sometimes is what makes it. I got to keep this tipped up closer to you guys. So there's a little bit of yellow on these petals. But let me just get the little line work that I'm just doing by using the brush with the chisel edge there. But if I could go with a heavier brush, again, because I'm going to use yellow, it needs to be a base coat of white. So if I just do this, because down the middle of these petals, you get that little yellow. I don't have a green thumb, and so I don't know the names of the parts and the things. I can grow irises, though. I do have beautiful irises up here in Maine. I miss them in Florida. So just in the middle, I'm making these white lines just so I can come back in as soon as that dries and make it the yellow bits. All right, so let's get some little fireflies too. Oh yeah, and I'm a big sketcher and I'm an urban sketcher. I love to sketch, and I think just sometimes you're just waiting in the doctor's office or you're in the car. Charlotte can attest to this. She's here, and I've got she loves to sketch too. So just makes, doesn't it, when you create something, you just feel so good. You know, it's just kind of whether you cook a meal or you build a wood project or you change the oil in your car, you do something and you feel good. So it's nice. Oh, the little tiny ones. Yeah, I love those little tiny. They're like some sort of other iris that are really little. Those would be fun to paint too. So yeah, it is coming. It's coming along. You know what? I want to touch where I put my hand up real quick right there, just because it'll bug me. And then we will do some stars or fireflies or something in the sky. And I would fill in with more little stems and things coming out. And sometimes I'll add other flowers. I'll put little like Queen Anne's lace, just dabbing the paint and making those little stems. There's all sorts of things you can add in too. But with this, it's a night sky, so I do love to put in the fireflies. So I would take, and again, white first because I want them to be yellow. So I'm going to water it down because I want it to be a little thinner. Taking some white little detail brush, and I'm just going to plop the brush down and spiral out. And these are going to become my fireflies. And if the paint looks a little heavy, I add a little water. I want it almost like a little wash. And just, some could be teeny, some could be bigger. And when I do these little spirals, I like to go almost out over the edge so you can kind of see it's almost like a little halo around. So, Siberian iris. Sandy, that's it. I was thinking like Asian iris or something. That's it. That's those little ones. And so I'm going to do that. And those can go even into the grasses because remember, they're flying all around. They're on top of the grasses. Some, again, are teeny. And this is the part that I love, is the little details sometimes. And I'm going to just make all those little spirals where I want them. later on after when I finish, I'm going to probably do them up the neck of the gourd as well. When I finish this, I will put on a finish. I use Minwax polyacryl. I buy it at the hardware store. It's a water-based acrylic finish, which is nice. So that gives it a little shine if you buy the gloss or the satin, whatever you want, and it does protect it. So I will put that on afterwards as well. So let's get our little fireflies in here and about. Got a little something you don't like? Pop a little firefly on top. I will, Natalie. I'm not going to do it here on the camera, but I will go all the way around just to finish it off. I have one here that I started a while back that I'm going to paint all the way around. It's just going to be sunflowers. And since I pulled the gourds out today, I'll have more room on my shelf now. You know, you guys probably have a stash as well of things that, you know, you're going to craft and paint. And I'm trying to, before I bring more home, which I do every time I'm at a yard sale or a thrift shop, and I need to make some room for some new pieces to paint. Okay, I love finding old tin pieces at thrift shops and paint those quite a bit. And so I'll just do a little more of these, and then we're going to finish them with a little bit of yellow the same way on top. And I'm not trying to form perfect circles at all. I'm mostly plopping the brush and then spiraling out, and it could be as loosey-goosey as you want. It doesn't have to be. You don't want it to be perfect little circles. And then I'll just go right into some yellow because I want the yellow to mix with the white. I don't want it bright. It's kind of a little bit faded. It's not a bright yellow. So I'm mixing it with some white, and I'm still adding a little water. First of all, because the paint's been sitting out. And second, I want it more like a wash. Oh, thank you, Pam. Thank you so much. I feel like it's hard for you guys to see it, but you know why? I shrunk my screen down here, so I'm looking at it like little tiny postage stamp size, so maybe you guys can see it pretty well. And how much time do we have? Where's my time on that? Oh, we've only got we've got 4 minutes left, seriously? But anyways, we're just about done. So I'm just going over here. And what I want to remind you to do is to stay tuned for the next crafter. I don't know where this morning went. I don't know about you guys, but the days, the weeks, and the months this summer are flying by. I am taking this yellow and I'm going way out even over the edge of what I've done with the white, because then it just sort of fades out a little more. And let's look at it. I can't really see it. Yeah, it's pretty cute. It's pretty cute. I might darken up the maroon on the edge of the wings, but we'll see. If it's like on the big painting, I had wide edge of around the edge of the Luna Moth because I was on a wall. So I did a dark wide edge, but then on the edge of that, I could do it pink and light. So I could actually even just highlight that little section of wing, whereas this is teeny compared to that. So you got the idea. Did you guys get the idea? They do go by fast, but then there's the next one, so it's really cool. Oh, Natalie, that's great. Thank you. I would love to see your paintings, and if you ever have painting something and you have stuck, send me a picture or message it to me, and I can always help you out because sometimes it's just one little step, and even in my own paintings, sometimes I don't know what does it need. So a trick to that is to look at your painting, of course, from far away because no one's looking at it this close, no one. And sometimes always taking a picture of it helps. Or for me, looking at it here, like here, I could say, oh, that's just not right. But I don't see it when I'm looking down at it. So there's some little tips to, kind of say what's going on. And actually what we're going to do this month in the membership, we're going to do some different things this month. Those of you that are in it and listening, I'm going to do those little watercolor pendants that I don't have handy, but I've been painting. And the bricks, have you guys seen the paver bricks that look like books for your garden? They're so fun. I just did a bunch, and I'm going to do that in my membership. And then we're going to do a live where anybody has a painting, because a few people have some paintings they're working on that are a little bit, they need some help with. We'll just do a live Zoom, and everybody brings submit the painting to me. I'll print out a copy, and then live we will go over it, and I will paint over your areas that you're having difficult with and help you correct it. And I really do have 2 minutes left, so I am going to just finish my little fireflies. I'm so happy to jump on last minute with you guys this week. And I will see you. I think I'm signed up for Monday or Tuesday next week. Oh, so before we go, the best part, the little yellow bits in the irises, you just do that. And because that white underpainting, they really show up. So do refresh your page. Sometimes you can't see the next crafter right away. I always have to refresh my page. And I hope to see you guys again soon. I would love it if you checked out my pages, and let me know if you want to learn to paint. And I've had a great time this morning. It's going to change over to 10 any second. So let me just say hi to some of you, Donna and Tammy and Jeannie. Natalie, I'm glad to see you here. And I'd love to see my members here. I see a few of you and some of my regulars. So thank you guys all for popping in. And I'm going to continue around the edge. And when I'm done, I'll take a picture. And I'm going to finish my sunflower one. I'll take a picture of that too. And you guys can see that one. I know I've done others, but these are the only two I had left. I thought, let's work on those today. So anyways, I see the sun coming out. I thought it was going to be a drizzly day, so that's kind of nice. And thank you, Dolores. I appreciate that. And I hope you guys, I usually try to post when I'm coming on. But anyway, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much, and have a good week.